The Honourable William KAMKET is the Member of Parliament for Tiaty Constituency in Baringo County. He is our guest this morning. Mheshimiwa, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. Thank you very much for joining us.
Asante.
That is the hot seat of the Situation Room. You're finally here. Karibu sana.
Asante.
First of all, this proverb. Is there any proverb in your community that relates to this? One doesn't give a gift without motive.
I only know in English that there's nothing like a free lunch.
Yeah.
So, perhaps.
There's nothing like free lunch.
Yeah.
Listen, it implies that there is a reason why you're being gifted.
There must be a reason.
There must be a reason why someone is gifting you. Yeah?
Yeah.
Mheshimiwa, you've been in the news lately for a while. On Sunday, the president was in your region and he was attending a church service and you are in attendance. And among the people who spoke was the MP for Tiaty constituency. When he stood up, he was talking about the issue of insecurity that's been there in that region for a long time. We talked about it on this show for many, many months. The insecurity in Baringo, West Pokot, Elgeyo Marakwet, crossing over into Samburu, going into Laikipia, and this has been there for long, crossing into Turkana as well. Banditry, cattle rustling, criminal activities where people have died. Schools have been closed. On Sunday, you spoke about the ongoing security operation, and you were talking about where the security personnel should be placed. If I understood you correctly, Mheshimiwa, you are saying that the police should be removed from the highways and be taken uko ndani ndani, and the deputy president told you they will move when they need to move. What did you mean? What were you saying that they should be moved?
Very well. First of all, I want to report that in Kerio Valley, as we speak, the situation is okay. We have no active conflict in Kerio Valley now. When I talk about Kerio Valley, I mean the border between Tiaty and Elgeyo Marakwet. People are living very well. The border between Sigor and Elgeyo Marakwet County, there is no conflict as we speak now. So we're talking about things that happened way back.
Yeah.
But there have been issues on this other side between Tiaty and Samburu and Turkana, especially towards Turkana East and some sections of Pokot Central sub-county. What I was saying in church on Sunday is that there is this tendency by police that whenever there is an issue or cows are stolen in some village somewhere, like in Kamuke or in the border between Pokot and Samburu, these police officers come and deploy along the Marigat Highway, Marigat Chemolingot Kerio Valley Highway. And they begin extorting money from villagers, peace-loving Kenyans who are going about their businesses. When you ask them what they are doing, they lie to the national authorities that they are busy conducting a very serious operation. Okay? So the people who have committed crimes are not on the highways. It's quite far away, like the latest incident. It's from Chemolingot to where the crime happened. It's almost 140 kilometers away, right? And then you find police officers. You find 4 roadblocks in a distance of 20 kilometers, 29 actually, between Loruk and Chemolingot. So you wonder what the hell are these people doing? But they know exactly what they are doing. They are collecting money from citizens. So that's what I was trying to tell the president. And I think the deputy president did not hear me properly. But later on I explained to him and he understood that indeed what I meant is we have no issue because all of us are tired. All of us, residents of Tiaty, residents of even Turkana, Samburu, we are tired of this menace. But when you deploy police along the highway, or when they are told that there is an operation, and then the police deploy their officers along the highway, then we have a situation where the top does not know what is happening, on the ground.
Are you saying, Mheshimiwa, that police are seldom deployed into the interior?
They never go. They have never gone
in that
into
incident
the interior.
where we saw police officers killed.
Yes.
Plus a woman leader in the community killed.
Yes.
Those were not in the highway.
No, what I'm saying, that those who got killed were the ones who reacted to the incident immediately. They were coming from near where animals were stolen, right? And then they responded, unfortunately, at night. And I do not know the details of what happened, but they responded, and that's what happened. But then, instead of now deploying more officers into the areas where the animals have been taken to, they deploy them along the highway.
Mheshimiwa, is it possible that they are deployed to go to the interior, but they prefer to stay on the highway?
Perhaps that you could be right, out of fear.
What exactly do they fear?
Well, people fear the unknown. People fear the unknown. But what's annoying to me as a member of parliament for Tiati is deploying, mounting roadblocks, okay, and harassing innocent, harmless Kenyans. Tiati constituency is a very big constituency. It's almost 5,000 square kilometers.
How big is that, if you were to compare it with Nairobi?
I don't know how big Nairobi is, but I think it must be bigger than Nairobi and Kiambu and all the other places combined.
As one constituency.
Yeah, that's Tiati. So when you and this is a highway, Marigat and Chemolingot, all the way to Kerio Valley to Lodwar. So you do a blockade on the highway. These bandits don't use cars. First of all, they don't travel by car. There's nothing they do. There's nothing that happens on the road apart from peaceful civil travel by everybody. And Tiati is inhabited by all communities of Kenya.
Yeah.
So what is this that they are doing on the highway?
In the years that you have been a leader in this region, you are a member of parliament now for what? It's the second term?
Yeah, second term.
Before this, you are Speaker of the County Assembly of Baringo. You've been in leadership, and you've seen these incidences and spates of violence in the area called cattle rustling or whatever. Are police deployed to the areas where they need to be deployed?
No.
In all these years? They
have never gone beyond the road.
But we see police officers being killed, Mheshimiwa. I have repeated.
No, what I'm saying, you must get every incident. Every incident is different.
Okay.
Okay? Like the incident which happened in Capedo, it was just along the road also, some time back.
When the 40 police officers were killed?
No, that was in Baragoy.
In Baragoy?
Yeah, that was in Baragoy. Yeah. But I do not know, that it's a bit far from me. That was in Samburu County. But I'm talking about what has happened in where I come from.
Okay.
They are always just along the highway, just harassing those of us who are innocent. We've told them, go to this area, go to these places. These are the areas where these guys have gone to with the stolen animals. They never go. They never go at all.
What's the reason for that? Because based on what you're saying now, Mheshimiwa, that people have given information to security forces, whether it's police, whomever it is, that we know where these people have gone. We know that if they have taken cattle, they've gone to this area. Yeah. And then there's no subsequent action. Why is that?
There's some questions. I would rather you invite the IG here.
Well, he's just taking.
No, I'm just saying. I will try to answer that question, but that question should be directed to those who are in charge of the police. But ideally, that's what should happen. That this is there is a problem in Kamukunji. Go to Kamukunji. There's a problem in Machakos, some corner in Machakos. Go to that place. But that doesn't happen. That is what we and if that were to happen, because let me tell you one thing. Criminality per se succeeds because of impunity. Okay, it is rate of success of crime and impunity. That you're able to do commit a crime and get away with it. You're able to commit a crime successfully, and nothing happens to you. That's the reason of criminality. But if you make it, if you make crime, if you're able to hold someone to account, the real criminal, then the other criminal, the next criminal will be deterred. But now, if there is a crime that has been committed, and then you come and block the road to everyone else. If you block Mombasa Highway, because there has been a robbery in Machakos, what happens?
Everybody else is affected.
Yeah.
Mheshimiwa,
That's what I'm saying.
what you're saying makes sense, Mheshimiwa, but there seems to be the underlying assumption that those who are in charge of security are not doing their job and that there's impunity. But impunity implies that they know they'll get away with it. How do they know they will get away with it? It seems to point a finger at the very same security forces that they may be complicit in these. Because how can a bandit go into an area, commit a crime, and they seem to know nothing is going to happen? I know there's a narrative of the security forces not wanting to go into the areas where these bandits go to for fear of whatever it is. But I cannot remove my mind from thinking that this has persisted for this long. There have to be people within the security forces who are complicit in this. Because otherwise, what we keep talking about, it can't go on and on and on and on indefinitely. And yet we have security forces. And yet you never hear of people getting arrested or people. It's like these bandits come out when they want, commit the crime and disappear. Wait a little bit, come how? And yet, it's not just security. We also have intelligence. And our intelligence services are excellent. So, it's a gap. I'm simply saying, Mheshimiwa, there's a gap, and unfortunately, much as we may say that they do not want to, a finger has to point into the possibility that a number of the people in security forces are also implicit in some of these things.
Well, it is easy to deduce. Anybody can deduce in the manner you have. But there is also something which needs to be understood. We come from regions like there are some regions where there is virtually no communication structures. In the entire Sukuta Valley region, for instance. In fact, by the way, Sukuta is one of the most beautiful places in Kenya. And you will be surprised. But what has happened is that there are no feeder roads going into the interior. We have been singing to the government, all governments, but at least I'm happy this one seems to be responding that let us do the road between Chemolingot, Kapedo, Lokori. Let's do the highway, tarmac road. That will eradicate some of these problems completely. And then in the interior, access roads in order to allow any meaningful response. Okay, there are some places where the region is so rugged that any police officer who does not know that region, going into that region, will only be, setting himself for, for
failure or
problems.
death.
So that region needs to be opened up. And that region is huge. It's quite a huge area of land.
When we talk about opening it up, in fact, reminds us of a conversation we had with you on the phone last year. And you were talking about the same thing, the underdevelopment and marginalization of the area, particularly Tiati constituency. So let's talk about numbers. How many health centers do you have, health facilities do you have in Tiati? How many schools do you have in Tiati? How many kilometers of roads, of tarmac road, do you have in Tiati? Start with roads because you own roads.
We have this major highway that's starting from Marigat all the way to Chimolingot and on to Barpelo and Tot and connects with Marij Pass towards Lodwa now. That's the only road that is not yet fully constructed, still under construction.
Okay.
But that is just an artery.
It's the main highway.
Yeah. But the entire region is we have fairly good roads in the interior. Small roads here and there from Loruk to Tangle Bay to Churo, but now when you go beyond that place, where the real people are,
They are not tarmac
towards
roads.
Silale, Akoret division, and all those places. That's now where we need these roads.
How many schools do you have?
We are fairly we have good schools. When I came in, I in the last term I managed to build 8 new secondary schools. 8. We have others that have been existing. I think they have in total in Tiati we're about 12
secondary schools.
12 secondary schools. And then primary schools, I think there are many. I don't have the figures with me, but we have enough primary schools.
Okay.
The only thing that needs to be done, and that's what we are waiting for the new administration to settle. We will be asking for the release of equalization fund. We need to build enough boarding schools and a school feeding program, because the problem we have is that retention of children in school. When there is no food, children drop out of school very easily, and those are the ones who end up in the wrong life, like banditry and that kind of stuff. So that is a very, very, very important factor. Like we have this fund which is in the Constitution, equalization fund, and it's going to help us a lot in terms of opening even these roads and water areas and water, and even the dispensary you're talking about. This money will help us a lot. So we are hopeful that now all those issues that have been sorted out in that fund, the issues of the regulations we managed to pass in the last parliament. So it's just a matter of release, and we also hope that we have little money in the CDF. Is something the CDF for Tiati and Kamukunji. I think Kamukunji is 5 kilometers square. And Tiati is 5,000 kilometers square, and then we share the
same amount
of money. So, but there's something we did in the last parliament. I think we might get just slightly more, but still not enough. So some of the issues that we want addressed as we move along, and those busy bodies who are busy taking CDF to court, they better learn that without CDF there is no life in the constituencies.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the conflict just to look at is it possible that these conflicts that we've been seeing over time, because it is not a 2002 issue, it is a perennial issue.
Yes.
Does it have an external force?
No, it's just negligence. Let me tell you this.
On whose part?
On part of government. It's just negligence on part of government. Let me tell you, my grandfather, the father to my father, that's my grandfather, was Assistant Chief Capedo East, Colonial, and post independence. And he was one evening. He had been unwell. He went to Kapedo dispensary for about a week, and then he went to take a shower. There's a very beautiful spa in Kapedo, hot spring. In fact, one time you should go there. You will enjoy it.
Okay.
So he went to take a shower downstream, beautiful. Then he got killed. He was Assistant Chief Kapedo East. That's how old this conflict has been. Right? I'm now heading to 50. I won't tell you how old I am, but I'm heading to 50.
Okay.
Maybe Mr. Latif here knows more about me because I was in school with him. But that is how, I mean, and the conflict is still there.
So it's been going on.
It's been going on.
But the question that Ndu is asking,
Yeah.
do you think there's any external force?
The only,
At any point in this
there can be
life
no
cycle of
external
this
force.
conflict?
The only thing external about it, which I'm sure the security forces know about, is a black market
For what?
for ammunition and guns.
Those things are not cheap. Whether it's the black market,
Yeah.
or whether it's the formal market,
Yeah.
or whether it's the regularized market. I keep saying that the business of conflict is not cheap. And if you've just told us, you've said several things now that contribute to the fact that these are folks who, even a living, a daily living is a problem. These are not people who are buying 100,000 shilling gun. Ammunition, 100, because that's the amount we're talking about. 96,000 shillings, 50,000 shillings. And that's just the arm. We're not talking about the ammunition that is required to use it. So where are they getting this from? And that's why I'm asking, is there somebody whose interest is to perpetuate this conflict? And for whatever reason, if there is, somebody must have heard about it. These are not young cattle herders who then suddenly have a 96,000 shilling AK-47.
Well, if you understand the entire terrain, we're talking about the problem with the gun culture that was developed in this country is that if you go to Isiolo, Marsabit, Moyale, that region,
Wajir, Mandera.
I think there are more guns in the hands of civilians than in the hands of police. Okay? That is the reality.
Okay.
And that stretches now up to Samburu, all the way to through Pokot, Turkana, and goes beyond to Uganda, the Pokots of Uganda, the Karimojong. So that entire region. But I'm happy with what Museveni has done on his side. I think Museveni has managed on his side more than we have managed. So it is when you talk about it's easy for us to talk about an external force here in the studio, but we're talking about a situation which has become a bit of.
So you think it's as normal as buying a goat in the market?
That's what I'm trying to say.
Acquiring a gun
Because
is like...
because let me tell you this: power abhors vacuum. Okay, when you have that entire Soguta Valley region, for instance, there is no presence of state.
Okay.
Meaning, explain what you mean.
There is no presence of security agencies.
You don't have chiefs.
No.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have police.
That's it.
You don't have anything.
No APs, nothing.
Nothing.
So chiefs don't have APs when the chiefs come.
Remember that law, Eric? This was, remember, the AP was part and parcel of the chief's formation.
Yeah, until the other day, until 9 years ago.
Yes.
So and you see, people must be able to secure themselves. So when they are not guaranteed of their security, by those who are supposed to guarantee security.
They take it into their own hands.
They take it into their own hands.
I see.
Let's take
Okay.
a break.
Okay.
Let's take a break. The Honorable William KAMKET is the MP for Tiaty constituency. He's here to talk about the insecurity banditry in the region that he comes from. Tiaty constituency is in Baringo County, so we talk about Baringo, Laikipia, Turkana, West Pokot, Elgeyo Marakwet, and Samburu as well. This banditry, the president has said, sio tafadhali, it'll come to an end. He says it's just a few people, elements who bring insecurity, and he will deal with them decisively. KAMKET is here to tell us what needs to be done from those that are on the ground.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
In the room, we have Eric Latif, Ndu Oko, C.T. Muga, and our guest, the Honorable William KAMKET, MP for Tiaty constituency. We're talking about banditry in his region. Mheshimiwa, when it comes to banditry, your name has featured several times in accusations, in arrests, in police action. For example, just June this year, you were acquitted of incitement charges of insecurity in Laikipia County, where you had been arrested in September last year. In January last year, you had also been arrested again because of insecurity in Kapedo. You have faced the arm of the law several times. Anytime there's an incident of insecurity touching on Tiaty or the region around you, your name is mentioned. In fact, there's a long-running feud publicly between you and your woman rep in Parliament, Mheshimiwa Florence Jamatia, who has gone out publicly to say, you should be answerable for what is happening. Why? Why you?
Why me? If you ask why me, you would have to ask the people of Tiaty constituency why they elected me. Because you seem to be suggesting that it was a mistake for the people of Tiaty to elect me as a member of parliament. The only crime I have committed is to be popularly elected as member of parliament for Tiaty for the second term. But otherwise, the most stupid thing that those in law enforcement agencies have done is to go for leaders when they have failed themselves to address this matter comprehensively. So whenever there is pressure, the easy thing is to say, let's arrest this MP. Like, what happened in Laikipia? What business did I have to do with Laikipia? I don't come from Laikipia. If there are Pokots who are living in Laikipia, they have their member of parliament. The member of parliament for Laikipia North. The allegations they made against me, they could not be sustained. Even not single witness appeared in court against me. There was just a very stupid move.
So are you saying the security agencies are not operating with any kind of intelligence?
No, I don't understand what they were doing. I'm telling you for the sake of the matter of Laikipia. They came for me dramatically. Like they accused me that I was in Laikipia on such and such a date. When I went to check, I was chairing committee on delegated legislation in Mombasa on the day they are saying I was in Laikipia. On the day they were saying that I was in my constituency inciting people, I was in Gilgil with Senator Gideon Moy at that time. I was cheering him on as was playing polo. So you wonder what was the intention of that arrest? So even before then, when they came for me again, they came for me because they had an incident in Kapedo, but the police wanted to. The police had gone to Chemolingot, the disbanded SSU. They had gone to Chemolingot and picked 6 professionals from a bar and went and killed them. And then because they wanted to cover up their story, they said, let's arrest the MP. It's a bigger story to say we have arrested the MP for Tiaty. And so they were able to cover up the people they had killed. So we have to be very careful. And I have been telling, I have told Minister Kindiki, who is my friend, he has to be very careful. He's now going in. I have listened to him speaking, and he has to be careful because there is we've been talking about state capture, okay, by politicians. But I can tell you there is something else, which is the police capture of civilian authority. Okay?
Explain.
What this means is when police do not want, are failed to do something, they have failed to abate crime, they have failed to work as they're supposed to work, they concoct all manner of stories. They concoct all manner of stories that this politician is the brains behind this thing, this politician is what, and then they come up with stories, and then they feed the stories with to the civilian authorities, and then all of a sudden you hear a politician has been arrested. There is no leader, not even my competitors. There is no leader whatsoever, whomsoever. There is no leader who will ever support crime. We have there can be no reason for it. That is how clear my mind is. And I even if it's my political competitor, I will never say my political competitor has supported crime. No leader supports crime at all. So I've been how my name comes up is because of this.
So it's a failure by police.
This failure,
and they use you as a scapegoat.
And they love to scapegoat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mheshimiwa, you're being a bit generous. I wouldn't dare say that no leader is capable of committing a crime, especially when I consider the number of times MPs are mentioned by the Auditor General. Those nefarious activities, they can't account for this, they can't account for the other. Governors who have thousands of issues that are pending and can't account for. I would say you, Mheshimiwa, can account for your activities, and you, Mheshimiwa, can say you're not involved in crime. But to enjoin other leaders and to assume that they're like you, that is perhaps being too generous. But to my point, from what you say, I get the impression that communities where we hear of banditry and we hear of issues involving guns that we now know are expensive, that people prioritize buying these guns for their own protection. And I hear you saying that they do that because there's a feeling that the state that's supposed to protect them doesn't protect them. So they take it into their hands to protect themselves. Do I hear you to be saying that correctly?
Yes.
I see.
But why for so many years?
When
you talk about neglect, lack of security apparatus in your region, why for so long? I've asked other leaders from your region and I've said, if you look back into even the Pokot leadership that has been in the national politics and national government, we've had many big names, Mheshimiwa Lotodo and others. They have been senior in government. If you look at the security apparatus, those in the army, those in the police, who come from that region, they have risen to senior ranks. Why would all of them not come in to make sure that what they know is ailing their community is addressed?
It takes. You'll have to go back you'll have to go back to the origins of this country at independence, and look at the sessional paper number 10, if you remember, which effectively marginalized some sections. If you the sessional paper number 10 spoke about developing high potential areas along the railway and along the highlands, and ignoring the other places. That has been the policy for so long. So much so that now resources always were allocated towards those areas. Now we got when devolution came. Remember, there is something called devolution has tried. some of the dispensaries we have now in places in Tiati were not there before devolution. And I want to appreciate that devolution has tried to address some of these issues. But there is also intra-county marginalization, which is real.
Within the county.
Yes, within the county marginalization. Based on clans, based on tribes, that kind of stuff. Like for instance, in Baringo, where I come from, I'm the only Pokot constituency. Tiati is the only Pokot constituency. We have 6 constituencies. The rest of the constituencies are occupied by Tugens. And except Baringo South, which is Tugen and El Chamos, but majority Tugen. So you'll find we have issues, and that's why we are part and parcel of the bill by Honorable Marwa Kitayama to establish 5 new counties, because we believe that we should be allowed to determine our own destiny. Perhaps that way we'll be able to do some of these things. We know in the Constitution and in the National Police Service Act, there is something called County Policing Authority.
Yeah.
Which I think it should be operationalized. I was there as a speaker of Baringo, but it was never operationalized at that time. And I think even up to this point in time, it's never been operationalized. But I think now with second phase of devolution, I think that matter should come up. And we are saying that those leaders who are there ahead of me, maybe they have tried at their level, but I think we should go further and bring government as closer to the people as possible. I am happy. I've listened to President Ruto for the last few days he's been in office. And I think he's very clear. He's very clear about ending banditry. And I think I have observed is what he's saying, and I want to give him the benefit of doubt. Apart from the root of the counties I'm talking about, I think he wants to deploy enough resources in terms of opening up those areas.
You're not the first one who's called then for the presence of government, and of course in this time we're referring to security forces as government as well, who has said, look, if we had a constant presence of security forces in the area, this would act as a deterrent from anybody who wanted to perpetuate this kind of conflict. Do you agree with that? And then secondly, you've also said that the leaders should be the determinants of the destiny of this area. What does that mean exactly? That you want to be involved directly in the security? You want to be involved directly in the economic development? What stops you from doing that now? Do you need the nod or the go-ahead of the powers that be, whoever those are, to say, all right, leaders, Tiati, Baringo, Marakwet, wherever, go ahead then and do it? Do you need the go-ahead or the nod?
No,
so those two elements, what do you have to say about that?
We don't need the nod from anyone. We are in leadership, and we continue to offer leadership as those of us who have been privileged to be in positions of leadership. And we're only saying that we need to do the right thing. For instance, this fund I was talking about earlier, called the Equalization Fund.
Yep.
It's a huge fund. Tiati, for instance, in the second deprivation policy by this commission.
Commission for Revenue Allocation.
Commission for Revenue Allocation, thank you. Tiati is supposed to get the highest amount of money in the country from Equalization Fund. That money should be enough to help us open up that place. Okay, but you also do realize that Equalization Fund is a sinking fund. It's established in the Constitution to last for 20 years.
Yep.
We are now, how many years? 11 years?
You have 7 years to go.
And it has never been
It's
operationalized.
never been operationalized.
Who is supposed to operationalize it?
The problem we have is, people went to court. There was a conflict between senators, council of governors, members of everybody wants to control. But now that matter has been solved. There is no reason now why that fund should the treasury should not disperse, because we have new regulations. There is a bill which I sponsored, which is supposed to make to operationalize the fund, which is different. That one is coming, but the regulations under PFM Act now should be able to operationalize that fund, and that's a lot of money that's supposed to help people quickly, just like CDF. So to answer your question, remind me your name.
Ndu. It's the easiest one you'll come across.
Ndu.
Yes.
To answer your question, then I think we are not waiting for anybody's nod. We are already leading. I think I forgot the first part of the question.
Do you feel that there needs to be government presence on ground, security forces within every? I think the formula we're given before was every 1-2 kilometers.
Yeah.
If you see a security
The
agent,
Honorable
then
David Kosing has said, let's have police presence in every 100 meters, a kilometer or so, even if it calls
because listen, Tiati, as vast as it is, we have one major police station in Chemolingot.
One.
Yes. And another one, small one in Tangle Bay. Okay.
And the distance between these two places?
Tangle Bay, Chemolingot to Tangle Bay is about 70 kilometers.
Yeah, that is not close.
Not 70, actually 90.
That's like here to Naivasha.
Yes. And then we have other small AP units in Churo and in Koloa. And that's it.
Can I ask this question? There used to be a unit that was based in Gilgil, anti-stock theft. Yes.
Unit.
If my memory serves me right, the individuals who are deployed in this particular unit came from these very regions. That was
we have
yes.
We have asked to camp in Capedo, GSU, all formed units. There are very many in Capedo, even including the military. There's a small camp near Capedo. But the problem with these officers, my brothers and sisters here, is that we have those who are in those stations confined to those stations.
They stay within the stations.
Stay within the stations.
And what is their mandate?
Well, the police mandate is police mandate. It's in the Constitution.
You see, the reason why I mentioned the anti-stock theft unit is because
Yeah.
if you bring a visitor to the terrain you speak of, they will not know where to go, what to do.
Yeah.
But people who are born in those areas, familiar with those areas.
Perhaps the thing that should help the government, and I've spoken to the new IG. I spoke to the former acting IG, the deputy DIG, Mr. Gabo. I've spoken to the new Minister for Interior about it, and even to the deputy president and president himself. I hope they'll be able to buy my idea, because
what is your idea?
We have people called National Police Reserve, which is made up of locals.
Yes.
Perhaps that will be if they do it in the manner I've suggested, perhaps we'll be able to help the situation. Because our idea of NPR has been not good. The state has been doing is to arm civilians, arm the Pokot, arm the Turkana, arm the Marakwet, arm the Tugen, arm the Samburu, say, here you go fight yourselves, go kill yourselves and finish yourselves. That has, and you find that has happened. People use government guns to kill themselves. They are civilians.
So how different?
And they are not properly. They are not trained. They are not paid.
So essentially, you want this particular unit to be formalized.
I want this unit to be formalized.
To be under the command of the IG of police.
Yes.
A special one.
Yes, to be a special unit of police, and operate within camps of police and have them mixed up among the tribes that are fighting in the north. And then there'll be the people who can be deployed quickly on foot. Okay.
In the region.
And in the region, because they know their areas. And within, I can assure you, within 6 months or 7 months, 8 months, this matter of impunity will be a thing of the past. And they have to be paid properly. In fact, I was telling the IG the other day, why don't you stop recruiting police this year? Don't recruit police for 1 year. Let's recruit NPR.
Ah.
Yes.
Okay.
And use that money to secure that entire region.
The entire region.
And then you can now recruit these
the regular police.
These regular D-plus people, or those who no, why?
See, for him,
I mean, those people
pre-primary.
Those are people who now come as officers and who don't want to risk their lives because of a cow stolen. You can now
recruit them later.
You can now recruit them later.
We want to go to the news. In our next conversation for the next hour, and we'd like you to just stay on for 15 minutes so you can give us a background and then you can leave, is with regards to this proposal to amend the constitution and create new counties in the country. A member of the Parliament affiliated with President William Ruto's UDA party is seeking to increase the number of counties from 47 to 52. Kuria East MP Marwa Kitayama intends to table a bill to amend the constitution to increase the devolved units. The second-term legislator's move has attracted the support of several MPs who feel their regions are not well served. Kitayama has written a notice to National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula to table the bill to increase the number of devolved regions. It seeks to create Kuria County, carved from Migori County, Teso, carved from Busia County, East Pokot County, hived off from Baringo, and West Pokot counties, while Mount Elgon County is to be carved from Bungoma and Trans Nzoia counties, Mwingi to be carved from Kitui County. This one of East Pokot is coming from Baringo and West Pokot. You are the only constituency representing Pokot in Baringo. You're behind this bill, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Why?
Very much so. Like I said earlier, we have intra-county marginalization. And we believe the way to get out of that is to have a county of our own so that we are able to govern ourselves in the manner that we want. And Tiati constituency, which is forms more than half of the entire Baringo County, and which has a population officially, yes, of about 179 at that time, but in my view, it should be more than that. To combined now together with
part of
Pokot Central Sub-County, which is Sigor constituency, we should be able to form East Pokot County.
Sigor constituency is in which county?
West Pokot County.
Okay.
And if you ask yourself, at the inception, why was West Pokot named West Pokot County and not Pokot County? Because obviously there is East Pokot, which was mistakenly left out, should have been one of the counties at the inception. So we found ourselves in Baringo, and we've been in Baringo. That's okay. We've done what we could, but I think it's time now we formed our own county.
So the main reason for this push to amend the constitution and increase the number of counties is so that communities move from where they currently are, where they are minorities in another county, and then you become a majority in your own county.
That's true.
And then the minorities in that new county will start pushing to have their own county.
You'll find, basically, there was no magic in the 47. You must understand this. So it's just about those districts that had been gazetted at the time of inauguration of the new constitution. But but if you look at the composition of these counties, okay, apart from perhaps Nairobi City County, which in my view should not have been a county in the first place. Apart from Nairobi City County, all the rest of the counties are tribal counties. Isn't that the case? So really, so it's a very it's a no-brainer for me, and there should be no reason for anybody to be opposed to it. We are ripe for it. It should have been done in the beginning, but it's long overdue. We do it now.
Mheshimiwa, there's a formula that is used. I'm not certain how exactly it works in forming a constituency. You look at the population, a certain number. That's why every 10 years or so, when the IBC, which was dealing with boundaries, looks at these things, they determine now this is how we can form a new constituency, because the representation is given by numbers. What are the requirements that are required for a county?
Look at the constitution. I'm sorry, I didn't carry the constitution with me. But if you look at is it Article 256 of the Constitution, you will get that. It's I think that 256 about amendment of the Constitution, but it must be Article 188. Yes, 180.
All these individuals who would like to have their own counties, are we saying that the areas that they're speaking of meet the basic requirements?
Yes, we do. You look at the Constitution properly, we actually qualify.
You qualify?
Yes, we do.
To be what?
To be East Pokot County.
To be a county.
Yeah.
So the question I want to ask is, then would it then stand to reason that there are probably other areas of this country, other than the 7 that have now come up?
Five.
Here I'm being prophetic. Who would also want to seek the same formation because they qualify?
You see, to amend the Constitution, there are 2 ways of amending the Constitution to form those counties we are talking about. The popular initiative and parliamentary initiative. We have gone the parliamentary initiative ourselves. Nothing stops anybody.
But both must end up with that.
This is a legislative proposal we have come up with. It's a legislative proposal. And it's a rigorous process. We are not saying that just because we've said we want to form new counties, that is obviously we're going to
just happen.
Just happen. We are alive. We are not delusional. We are alive with the fact that this is a lengthy legal process.
I mean, the logic behind it is sound.
Yes.
That's why I started off with the constituencies, because for representation to be effective, sometimes that divvying up of a certain geographical area is necessary. Yes. So
the consensus. I think this term is we are ripe for review. I think IBC will most likely do it either this year or next year for the review of constituencies, and that's coming out. 10 or 12 years, not more than 12, not less than 8 years in the Constitution. So I think the IBC is ripe for that. So they'll do the boundary delimitation of the constituencies. But the ones we have, the one for counties is a bit different because we have come up with we want to force the arm of IBC to do the limitation of county boundaries.
By amending the Constitution. And changing the structure of devolved units.
Yes.
Which then must end up in a referendum.
Most likely, I do not know. We will.
It must. The Constitution says if you want to amend the Constitution,
referendum.
If there was a way
that changes the objects, principles, and structure of devolved government, referendum.
Is that structure or boundaries of counties?
Structure.
Boundaries is
of
structure.
Devolved government.
I do not know whether structure involves boundaries.
It involves the number.
It's a question of interpretation.
It involves the number of devolved units because the Constitution is clear. There shall be 47 devolved
We have no
units.
issue. If we have to go that route of the referendum, I'm sure those Kenyans, the rest of Kenyans will not want to be jealous of us getting counties because I have been in Baringo and we have supported the county of Baringo for all these years. It's my county. But if we able to form another new county, we are still the same people.
What you say, Mheshimiwa, is logical, it is sound, but the moment you subject it to a political process, it gets political.
Yeah.
Now, this sound logic that we are discussing calmly here goes out of the window completely.
we will do the politics.
Okay.
I know you need to leave, Mheshimiwa, and we'll allow you to leave. But just before you leave, it'll not be lost to many people that this is the second time in as many weeks that a UDA MP is proposing amendment of the Constitution. First one was Fafi MP, who was proposing to amend the Constitution to change the term limits of a president. Of course, the UDA party immediately distanced itself from that. This is now a UDA MP who is pushing for a constitutional amendment to change the number of devolved units that we have in the country. It's not lost to many that the leadership of UDA was very much opposed to any conversation about amending the Constitution just a year ago. Barely 3 months into office. And UDA MPs are championing amendments to the Constitution. Politics.
I would not look at it from that perspective myself. For instance, on the matter of the Constitution creating.
And but before you even respond, I think it's very clear. It's important for me to point out here that you are not a UDA MP.
Yes,
you're elected under KANU MP.
That's all.
But you are cooperating with Kenya Kwanza.
I'm cooperating with Kenya Kwanza,
yes.
And let me put it this way. In my view, it has nothing to do with UDA, because me, as member of Parliament for Tiati, and somebody from East Pokot region, I am my people, the people I represent, the people of Pokot Central. We have spoken to them, and they are saying, "Come on, let us form East Pokot County. Wherever there is West, there must be East, naturally." So it has nothing to do with UDA. No.
This is all.
It's all about the people. It's about the people. The people are demanding, let us create a new county, and I am their representative. I'm only their voice. Yeah.
You're just taking the message of the people forward.
That's what I am.
That's representation.
Yeah.
And at its basic form.
Yeah.
Mheshimiwa, thank you very much for joining us. William KAMKET is the MP for Tiati constituency. And we want now to open the phone line so that we can extend this conversation to you.